Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the coach, without the coach though this morning. Doing my first not first, but Hall of Fame College Football in the morning show. We're going to try to start getting these pretty regular over the next about 100 days left until we get into the college football season. Once we get to that season, we're trying to just start off with 2, 3, maybe 4 days a week. But by the time the season gets here, we will be full steam ahead, 5 days a week. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Glad everybody's in here. Before you guys forget, make sure you wipe your feet, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and make sure that you're here. Hit that ring that bell too, so that you don't miss anything that we're doing. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit as we get into the show a little bit. Welcome in, Stink Ass Cat, Jay Chapman, Brian Sandlin. There he is. Guys, check in as you get in. Welcome into the morning show. We're going to talk a little bit about a lot of stuff that's been going around. For this first hour, we're going to get into kind of some of the stuff that's been continuing to be, Jay went through a lot of it last night on his show, but and I'm going to talk about it a little different. I actually want to go a different route with it and talk a little bit more about it. In the second hour, we will actually have, what's up there, Benjamin Cisco, Big Reggie. Hey, man, we're going to have to get you on the show one of these times too, man. Welcome to come in anytime. But yeah, we'd like to, we're going to get into some of this stuff over the first hour. OU obviously still catching strays. A lot of this portal winners, but still not getting a lot of love from mainstream pundits out there. A lot of that kind of stuff. Second hour, we're going to have Blake Ruffino from the Ruffino and Joe Show, talking a little more of that beef stuff between Texas A&M, the Texags guys over there, and he and his buddy Joe De Leon from the Ruffino and Joe Show. They got into it over Notre Dame and then LSU, and it just Blake chose violence. It was like a lot of fun. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about that and the SEC moving forward. He's kind of an LSU, knows a lot of stuff, so it'll be good stuff, man. Hey, no SEC expansion without North Carolina. Yeah, I don't think so. Hey, that's cool, man. Yeah, I'll shoot you something on Twitter or something here in a little bit, and we can set something up maybe for this week or whatever. We'd love to talk to you, man. Be good stuff. Neilio, our boy from KC Mo, welcome into the show, sir. Good morning to you all. Hey, Jason, what's up there, Neil? Glad to see you in here. Thank you for the super chat. Guys, that's always a way that you can absolutely make sure that taking care of the show. Other ways that you can support the show are get into our official show merchandise. As you can see up there, we've got our horns down gear, the one with the that UPC code or whatever. That's actually I gotta record something a little better for it, but there's a website, a web page that you'll go to. It gives you a great message. It's kind of good for what we're talking about right now, college football beefs. Check that out at hofmedia.us/pod-merch. You also have our MAELREG Performance Golf Apparel sponsorship for performance, style, and price on amazing summer/golf wear. Amazing stuff. Not everything's as flashy and bright as all that stuff you're seeing up there at the top, but, you get great UPF protection, sweat, moisture wicking, all that kind of stuff. Really cool stuff. Get in there, maelreg.com/JW_HOF. And then our biggest partner right now is Mint Mobile. Guys, want to shout them out again because, I just got to tell you, shout out these guys because you can score the best deal in wireless, bar none, without having to deal with salespeople and not sacrificing service, speed, or anything you're used to with your big wireless carrier, except, of course, that feeling of being financially violated each month when it comes to time to pay that bill. You heard me correctly by logging on to our partner website, trymintmobile.com/HOF. You can ride the wave of the largest 5G network in the country and get unlimited talk, text, and data for your first 3 months of service for just $45. Folks, that's $15 a month. But if you're skeptical, just do what I do. Add a second line to the current cell phone that you already have right now using Mint's eSIM card, and it'll activate and be on the phone at the same time that you can go ahead and just keep the service that you already have. Okay. Amazing stuff. So you can kind of test them out, see what you like, what you don't. A lot of people will get a little worried, especially if you travel a little bit, that you might not get the service that you're used to. I'm telling you, it only took me a month to realize I needed to get rid of Verizon. I'm saving a ton of money. Even after that initial 3 months, it only goes up to $30 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data per line. I have 2 lines, so I'm saving, about $140 a month. That's over $1,600 a year in savings for me. How many phone lines do you got? Get in there and check it out. $45, it's worth taking a look at. Obviously, it helps the show a lot, but you can also help your pocketbook as well. And if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. But I think you'll like it. So get in there and give it a look. Thank me later. All right. Hey, Robin Lemon, what's up, my man? Good to see you in there. Passing through to wish us a good day. Hey. Work it. Yeah. Okay. Hey, well, hey, thanks for coming in, and make sure you jump in here later on and check it all out. We got some cool stuff going on today. Benjamin Cisco, welcome in. I'm not sure if I've seen you lately, but welcome into the show. Glad to see you. Again, Hankster, good to see you, my man. Jay Chapman, as I said, and Stink Us Cat. All right. So let's talk a little bit about OU still kind of catching strays, right? It's kind of amazing to me the way things are going. We're going to talk a little bit with Ruffino when he gets on here a little bit. But I wanted to kind of shout out the guys from Locked On Oklahoma. Because they ask a great question on their Friday show, and in fact, a couple of great questions, but I really wanted to kind of shout them out. John Williams, Josh Helmer, obviously Helmer's from the KREF show as well. He's got a show over there. Get over there and check them out if you guys aren't already, watching their show quite a bit. Very good stuff, though. But they kind of talked a little bit about the fact that, Josh Pate and ESPN and a lot of these national media pundits talking about the spring portal and the overall portal since the end of the season and how Oklahoma was a winner, picking up the guys that they needed, whether it be Deion Burks or obviously, getting Dominic Williams in this last cycle. It looks like they're not done yet. They've, got a key piece for the offensive, or more than one key piece for the offensive line over the last few months. So they were winners in it. The question that they had, and I thought this was a pretty good question, I kind of wanted to ask you guys what you thought about that, was moving forward, and this is where I'm at on it, is that if you start thinking about where this program was when Brent Venables took over, and, not to diss on anybody that was in the program, but he didn't exactly leave the cupboard, full of groceries and ways to make this thing click. They've had to be fairly aggressive in the portal. Their question was, does Oklahoma need to be a portal winner, as they've been called, after the spring, annually to win on a consistent basis? My immediate reaction was no, because of the fact that, now you're starting to see big time recruits coming in high school recruiting. As well as, obviously you've made some big pickups in the portal, but when you start looking at what they're getting in high school recruiting, what they've got coming in the 2025 class, right now they rank at number 5 or 4, 5 or 4, whatever. In any event, you've got some guys that are coming in, and then, looking at, Big Reggie, his son, along with Boganowski and those guys, they've been really killing it as far as their defensive recruiting overall, whether at all 3 levels, has been amazing. Okay. I think the fact that you got to keep Stutzman around, you got to keep Billy around, and as well as, Gentry Williams, being back into the fold as well, and Woody Washington, plus Ethan Downs. These are some guys that, you know, obviously Woody, Ethan, Billy, and Danny are the last of the Mohicans when it comes to Lincoln Riley players. Okay. But I think that, what do you mean? 3, you believe what? Did I miss something? Anyway, so, I mean, like I said, the question is do they need to do that well? Do they have to be right there? I don't know. To me, I think that there's, and I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about that a little bit, but I think that you're going to have to keep recruiting the way that you are. And because I think that it's obvious that you can supplement in the portal, and there's levels to it, how aggressive you have to be. I think if you're LSU right now, you're wishing that you had pulled off some of this stuff that you've done in the past, or that you could have, you know, at least locked in one, either Simeon Barrow or Dominic Williams, because they're hurting up front, aside from their, you know, freshman Dominic Williams, who we all know. But I do think that you get a couple of guys here and there, you fill in the spots. But if you're not building through high school recruiting and getting the best that you can possibly get there, then I think you're in trouble, because that's where there's such a fine line between being Dabo Sweeney and being Coach Prime or Lincoln Riley, right? There's a fine line there when it comes to the portal. So that's where I kind of feel like, you know, yeah, our recruiting rate, oh, it's 3. Wow. I didn't even realize it went up that high. Sweet. Okay. But there's a fine line there. But I think that this, first off, I want to say that I think that BV and this staff has done a great job, and the school and Joe Castiglione. And you got to take your hat off to what they've done with their collective and with their making that decision that, look, we're gonna play the game as it has to be played, because you do have to play the game as it has to be played. You know, we talked a lot about last week about how Brian Kelly saying that stuff about, you know, we're not in the business of buying players at LSU. Definitely going to get into that with Blake here in just a bit as well. But to me, that was ridiculous. Okay. Ridiculous because of the fact that we know damn good and well that that's not true. You know, they had to pay Jaden Daniels, and maybe you can say that what they're saying over there is that Oklahoma's paid in the neighborhood of $1.2 million to Dominic Williams. Now, we've heard that the offer was high, but I don't know that that's what it was. And whatever it was doesn't really matter to me. I could care less. Okay. You have to be able to sell that to your program. And I think that what Brian Kelly was saying was that, you know, that would have upset the apple cart in their locker room. Have they have done that? My feeling is that they were still pushing that, or you've heard rumors and stories about in the final few minutes that agent of his was calling all the schools trying to get that money, which means that Oklahoma wasn't probably giving it to him either. Right. So as it got to, that was the final offer, wherever they were, you know, and it may have been more than LSU in Texas, but I don't think it was that much. Whatever it was, doesn't really matter. If he could sell that to his guys in the locker room, which I think he can, because they want to win and they want to win now. And a lot of this stuff that's going on, they're getting sick of being disrespected. You've heard it on the Red Dirt Media Show. All these guys, you know, we hadn't seen a ton out of Danny Stutzman and Jaron Kanik as far as having their show lately, or at least I haven't. But my thought is that a lot of them are getting kind of sick of what they're hearing from around the country, right? That's just how I feel about it. Okay. Let's see. Keep recruiting well, but you will always need to get a couple of guys to fill the experience need. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and for sure. No, I don't think that they had to. Yeah, right. I mean, you know, you even lost a couple of guys to the portal from that position as well. But what they had, the guys that they got coming in and the guys that came in, your son, obviously Michael Boganowski, you know, just like I said about last year's class, You're talking about those guys like Makari Vickers and, Josiah Wagner, who, obviously he's gone now at this point, but then Jacoby Johnson and those guys, they killed it there, right? They killed it there. Then they added, of course, with Peyton Bowen, this is one of the top 2 guys in that class. He was only behind Caleb Downs overall in the class period, and they got him, right? These are guys that are set to make a big impact in their second season around. You started seeing Makari look really good at the end of last year. You've seen a lot out of Jacoby looking really good this year. You're seeing little Eli Bowen looking like he's ready to rock and roll when it comes to playing in that slot and, covering some of those shiftier guys. They know what they're doing. Then they're, the linebacker position that we've talked ad nauseum about, it's been filled out as well. You've got guys that are coming in and going to be big time players. I mean, when you see a guy like some of these other guys that are having to get out of here to the portal, it tells you that there's that much depth and experience back there. But I agree. I think that you're going to kind of have to, at least for the next couple of years. Yeah. Look, and what I liked about them going hard after Dominic Williams the way they did, I think that you may or may not feel like you needed to have that I think that Dominic Williams is kind of a different cat. I think he's going to be an instant impact guy, right? I mean, he was a freshman All-American. We know he can play. And so that was a little different. But as far as like Jermaine Lole, did you really have to have him? I like him. And, I wish that Texas didn't get him because they were hurting a lot more until they did. But I did feel like even if they end up with this other couple of guys that they're looking at or whatever for depth or whatever, whether you need that or not, I'm not sure, right? It doesn't bother me to get it because depth is great and competitive depth is always going to be good. I think you're about to see a big season out of Grayson Halton. Like I said, I still wouldn't count out Nigel Smith as making an impact in year 1 from that 3 technique position as well. So, and then of course, I think that Stoney is going to step in there and be big. Jaden Jackson quite possibly could be a starter by midseason if he continues to progress with as big and mean as he is, right? But now you don't have to rush them into service or at least giving them too many snaps. Although you do want, I think that there's kind of a balancing point that you have to get to as well, that you want to make sure that those young guys are getting enough snaps. And I think that should include Nigel Smith and some of those other guys as well. Okay. That's just kind of where I'm at on it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Listen, everybody's in the business. It's so weird. Even Georgia uses the portal, even though they have stacked classes. Yeah. No, but the question that they had was, do you have to be a quote unquote winner in the portal every year in order to be successful? Okay. And I don't know, how do you define winner? Okay. How do you define winner? And does that mean that you have to go in there and get a key piece every year, or, go get that gem of the class or of the portal class, right? I don't know that you do. I think that what we're starting to see is you're starting to get guys in there. Like I said, you've got Bobby Newcomb's son. He'll be here. Jeremiah Newcomb will be here this summer in that corner room. Then look at the corners that you got coming in this next year. There's a reason Josiah, he could kind of see that he was about to be the odd man out because of injuries a lot. And I like Josiah a lot. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. But that felt like he kind of got pushed out, right? Because, man, not even 72 hours, he already had another place to play? It seems like that was in the works for a while. But yeah, everybody's in the business of playing players. What's up there, Mars James? What's up? Jake Kitchen and business meetings, listen to the show. Good to see the morning show now. hit the like button and subscribe. Hey, thanks, JJ. If you guys are not already watching Talking College Football with JJ Kitchen, you're missing out. He is one of the best content creators out there. Great show that he has. His Sunday night conversations are awesome, where he's talking to his pit crew. But I tell you, this guy knows college football in and out, man. Love watching him. And yeah, thanks a lot for getting in here. Steve Scott, I heard Rouse talk about Williams last night, and he said it's like trying to move a tree. Yeah. Dude, he's a monster, right? He's a monster. And I think that, look, I don't care what they paid for him. If they can sell that to the guys in that locker room, and because we all know that that's the most important thing for Brent Venables, for this, and for this program moving forward, is everything that they're doing with culture. You know, the soul mission and everything else. It's about relationships. It's about family. And that's probably, I mean, Reggie, Big Reg, that's what I would, you know, I love hearing that guy from you guys. And we heard it from Big Mike Boganowski talking about how important that was to them. I think moving forward, I think that was a bigger reason than anything for Dominic Williams, right? They were able to build a relationship with him. And I think it's kind of happened over time that I don't think that he got at Texas, and I don't think that he got it at LSU either. And that's why they were definitely probably shopping him around for as much money as they can get. I'm sure of that. You know, but I also do believe that that's, you know, kind of one of those deals. Guys, we're going to go ahead and bring in, he's a little early, so we're going to get him in here now and talk a little bit with our friend Blake Ruffino from the Ruffino and Joe Show right here on YouTube. Blake, what's up, my man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. Good to talk to you, my boy. We were talking a little OU stuff there for a little bit, but we could get back to that. I know you only have a little bit of time, so wanted to get you in here and talk a little bit too. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for joining the show.
Doing good, man. Yourself?
Good always, man. Good always. We're just talking about all this college football beef that's going around. And, you know, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you know, well, some of the some LSU stuff, because I know you're an LSU guy and, you know, lived down there. You've covered the team for a while, SEC stuff and everything. But I think since you're, you know, well, while you're here, we might as well just start off with, you know, the Texags beef there the other day and what happened with you guys on that show.
I don't really know. I mean, I don't really think it was Texags. I think it was just like somebody had sent us. I don't know who it was, but somebody had sent us, like they had mentioned it and said something.
Oh, they were crushing you guys on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they were crushing me. I mean, Joe's
not you, Joe
yeah.
more. Joe. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Okay. And from a big microcosm, overlooking it all, I like Texags has done this to me a couple of times. It is what it is. If they want to, they think that, like, if they come on my show, oh, well, we're promoting your show. We're Texags. Brother, I don't need, we've had massive guests on our show. Like, I don't need anybody to come on to get the same numbers that we're already doing. I think the thing with Texas A&M, and I'm going to say something that's factual. You're fourth in the conference or fourth in the SEC in wins over the last 10 years. You act like you're Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and then when someone says something positive about LSU, you go, well, we beat LSU 2 of the last 4 years. Yeah, well, they're 10-3 against you since you joined the conference. They have more national titles in the last 20 years than you have 10-win seasons. So the bottom line is like Joe said a comment that was tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
saying, you know, he was talking crap. He's a Notre Dame fan, and they took it out of context.
The coach, he's my co-host. He's a Notre Dame guy too, so I get it.
Well, it's a tongue-in-cheek comment. Okay, yeah. He didn't really mean it, but it gets clipped and shared. But that's what they do. That's the fan base that they are. They take small comments that they should have known as tongue-in-cheek that he probably really doesn't mean it, and they get butthurt behind it. So I don't have a beef with anybody other than they think that they're better than they actually are. Look, you just spent $75 million to fire Jimbo Fisher. I don't really like you don't know where you're at either, right? Oh, we hired Mike Elko. Well, Mike Elko hadn't been the head coach long. You don't know where you're at as well. And the truth becomes, now that Texas is in the league, now that Oklahoma is in the league, maybe you're not the fourth best team in the conference because wins, Jason, have to matter, right? Like those things have to matter. And if they don't matter, okay, then what? Like, what are we discussing? So, look, I did not appreciate, which we're going to have Robert on our show tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, we're going to have him on our show tomorrow. I don't understand the LSU strays. Like, oh, well, this is coming from a guy that hasn't won at Kyle Field since the Obama administration. Buddy, there was 9 straight years that you didn't beat LSU. Johnny Manziel couldn't do it. And then so many other teams couldn't do it. You know, the funny thing is, we have that 7 overtime win versus Joe Burrow. I would take that loss against A&M at Kyle Field versus what happened the following year and win a national title, which is something that they don't know anything about in the modern era. They have no idea anything about A&M when it comes to national championships. They don't have a clue. They really don't know what it takes as a program to get over that hump and win it. And here's the truth. LSU has won 4 national titles in big sports, the Big Four, as I call it now, with women's basketball, in the last 5 years. This is a recurring thing. So, look, A&M has won 77 games the last 10 years, so 7.7 wins. Everyone calls them Texas 8-4. You're living up to that billing, right? So I get fired up because every time you say something remotely negative, their entire fan base loses their minds. They act immature behind it. So
right. I know, and start throwing something. Well, this is Aggie. This is Aggie. And look, as somebody who's covered the Big 12 and some SEC, over my time as a sports journalist, I've been there for a long time. I covered, Texas Tech for a while after I got out of college. I've been around the league and around Aggie for a long time. Their winning percentage is the same as it's always been forever. It doesn't matter that they're in the SEC. It's the same as it was when they were in the Big 12, and they never win games that they need to win. And they literally are paying Jimbo to not coach after coughing up millions to get all these guys. And what do they got to show for it? They've got, what did they get? 8 wins last year and 5 the year before that. So 13 wins out of that 30 million that they spent on all those guys. And
they showed you the blueprint of how not to use NIL. They thought that you could just throw money at the problem, and they're doing that with Jimbo too, right? Like throwing money at the problem isn't the thing. And here's another thing with Texags, okay? Like Billy Lucci came out and said, I hear Brian Kelly would take the Michigan job. Well, here's the thing that I've learned in actually breaking news over the last, we're probably now coming up on a decade. There are things that you hear out there in the ether that you just don't let fly out. The way that my, AYS became the way that it was from an LSU perspective is because we broke news before people. We were accurate. And I would rather be last and accurate than first and not accurate, right?
Absolutely. I said the same thing.
So I think when he said that, there are things. Would Brian Kelly have a conversation with Michigan? A conversation's a conversation. I have business conversations all the time. If you don't have them, it's because you're probably not in the world of having those type of conversations. So what do we talk? Are they going to pay? Just newsflash. He still owed $60 million. Like there are some things that I think people are just like, oh, well, I mean, is he going? And it starts a whole whirlwind. A&M, here's the truth. A&M wants a rivalry very badly with LSU, regardless of what they say. Oh, well, Texas in the league, so now their focus is on Texas. They try.
They don't want to play Texas. They don't want to play Texas. They don't want to be in the league with them even. I think if they could leave, but the legislature killed that already. If they could leave, they would. but they can't.
I don't know if they would or if they wouldn't. That like I know a lot of people talk about them going to the
They tuck
Big Ten.
tail and run. They would tuck tail and
Well,
run.
if they do tuck tail and run again, then they need to reevaluate themselves as a program, right? Like for example,
I actually like Mike Elko. I think they probably have their best opportunity with this guy because he starts with defense, and I mean,
but the problem with that, Jason, is that there's
Texas.
Well, the problem with that is that there's so many unanswered questions. Do I think Mike Elko's a really good coach? Yeah, I do. Do you know that? And do you know that of him being in the SEC? Okay,
no, I think he's the same as like Mark Stoops. I think he's very similar. Mark can win 10 at Kentucky, but in those off years when they're not catching every big boy in the league.
Well, that's not what they want to be, right? Like being Mark Stoops at A&M is not where A&M wants to be. It's not where the facilities should be.
No.
It's not, meaning like you shouldn't have everything that you have and be the same amount of relevance as Kentucky. You should be up there with the LSUs, the Georgias, the Alabamas. And here's the truth. From a football perspective, who has been the more dominant teams in the conference? It's been Georgia, LSU, and Alabama. Clearly.
Yeah.
So they want to be there. That's what they're striving to be. And the truth is that is what everybody should strive to want to be, right? Like everybody should strive to want to be there. But you're not there. And hiring what do you know for a proven fact about Mike Elko being a head coach in the SEC? Nothing. That doesn't mean he's not going to succeed. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be good this year.
Approaching it differently than Jimbo's a good start is where I was at. You know what I mean? I don't know.
He's not Jimbo. See, here's what we do as a fan, as a college football fan base. It doesn't matter. Like we can't compare. Like and look, LSU has had Les Miles, Ed Orgeron, etc.
Sure.
You cannot compare the new head coach to what you just had. That's how you lose. Right, you got to compare
doing it differently than him is a good start. If you're Mike Elko, though,
maybe. I mean, what has he done that's been? We don't know. Offensively, what do we know about him? Nothing. They've been really good defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I like Mike Elko. I just don't know what they're going to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to depend on what Colin Klein looks like as a coordinator in the SEC. What that offense is going to do. I don't know that he was the best offensive coordinator anyway at K-State. I think that he did some decent things, but he wasn't my favorite. I think that they did better with Matt Wells. K-State did, and I don't know why you wouldn't have went with a guy like that. Probably.
I think A&M.
A&M's, their win totals at what 9.5, 8.5 to 9.5, depending on where you're looking. My question was, and somebody said this on, I think it was SEC Unfiltered the other day. I thought it was a freaking hilarious statement, and it's so true. Mm-hmm. At what point are we going to let these guys overachieve instead of not living up to it? Instead of not living up to these expectations of 9, 10 wins, going to the playoff, all that kind of stuff. At what point are they going to say, you know what? You've proven what you are. We're going to put you at 6.5, 7, and that be the expectation for you. And then they can overachieve is what I'm saying. I thought it was a great call.
Yeah, Chris Phillips does a really good job over at SEC Unfiltered. I think that well, look, here's the thing that I think about, like when you say that, and I think Chris knows this. Chris is talking about it from a fan's or a fan, or he's looking at it at a realistic point of view, right? But here's what Vegas knows. Vegas knows that the A&M fan base is probably going to, if they're at 8 wins, they're going to bet the over, and they're probably going to lose it. So that's why I think, Jason, I'll give you an example, okay?
Well, no, I've been in Vegas for a long time. I get what you're saying. The number's never about what they actually are projecting them to win. It's
what they're actually projected to win is 7.5. If you go look at Vegas's real odds, their real odds is 7.5, right? So, I mean, I'm looking at it right here. Our team, the interns pulled it up.
Yeah, FanDuel has them at 8.5, and then Vegas,
Right.
though, yes, Vegas has them at 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah,
Right. So
but,
I mean,
again, that's because probably it could have dropped. I mean, they're going to put it somewhere in the neighborhood because of the fact that they know they'll get bets on both sides. The one thing that sportsbooks try to do is not be at risk. They want the same amount of bets on both sides.
Oh, no doubt. And look, they're going to win some, they're going to lose some, but there's a reason why they probably obviously win more than they lose.
Always.
So, right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like I was saying, but I think you're right. I think that he was definitely looking at that in the point of view of, look, you've got all these expectations, and you have the Josh Pates of the world out there, and even some of these other guys saying, hey, this is the time that you're going to see them do that. Yeah, okay. To me, it's similar to how I feel about Texas. I don't care what Texas did this last year. I know that they had to go heavy in the portal, and everybody expects that Quinn Ewers is just going to be 10 times better than he ever was before, and he's got all new receivers. They've got, the good news for them is that their line's basically intact. Their offensive line's basically intact. But Sark's won 10 games once in 10 years as a head coach.
Yep.
And you're going into the SEC. And even though they're kind of playing the JV schedule of the SEC in comparison, but they still got to deal with Georgia, and they still got to deal with Oklahoma as always. And then they get to close out at Kyle Field. I think that was going to be a fun one.
I think that this is what we do too. We look at a team like Texas, okay, and say to ourselves, they got a big matchup versus Georgia? And that's right. Clearly they do. The thing that I look at with Texas is not the Georgia game, because look, Texas went on the road last year and beat a playoff team in Alabama, right?
Yeah, sure.
The
not
problem,
not the same football team, but okay.
Yeah, but look, they could have a packet of ketchup at quarterback, a hot dog at wide receiver, and Saban's is still at that field is still one of the best. I agree with you that they weren't the same.
I'm not talking about Saban. I'm saying that's not the same football team they have now.
No, I don't think that I agree with you on that. However, what I will say is, to get to the point, I don't think that the game versus Georgia is what I look at versus when they almost lost to Houston last year, when they're on the ropes against Kansas. You can't do that in the SEC. You don't have the Houstons of the world that you can struggle against, because if you do that on the road, you're going to get beat. Right? Like you can't do that against Kentucky. You can't do that against Tennessee. You can't do that against
Arkansas.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. You can't do it against Florida. If you go to the swamp and you're on the ropes and 100,000 people are screaming and you have a backup quarterback, what's going to happen? God forbid, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Quinn Ewers has been hurt every single year. If he got hurt in Florida, okay. Arch Manning's first game.
That's in Austin this year, but I get what you're saying.
Okay. All right. Well, name a game that they go on the road, right?
Arkansas.
And
that's a rivalry. That's a rivalry, and with Petrino back, who's to say?
I mean, I'm so low on Arkansas, but
I know I am too.
I don't know their schedule in front of me, but even so, even if Florida goes into Austin, you can't play around with these teams. You will lose. And I think that those are the things that people overlook so much.
Mm-hmm. Des, our resident Texas fan, welcome into the show, Des, that likes to come in and, you lost to OSU and Texas beat the shit out of it. Yeah, well,
you can't use transitive properties.
Yeah, and OSU got drugged down at freaking UCF too. Like 48 to nothing or something like that. Got smoked. So whatever, it is what it is. But and Texas got beat by Oklahoma too, Des. Let's not forget that. All right. But yeah,
I saw that comment. Every team does have close games, but their close games historically, when you like, for an example, if you're in a close game versus Houston, I don't give two Rudy Poos who it is. You can't do that in the SEC.
Yeah, because Houston was bad.
They were very bad. at Kansas with a backup quarterback. I mean, again, you can't.
I think Lance Leipold is one of the best coaches in the country. I don't think it's Kansas of old at all.
No, it's not. But when you have a backup quarterback in his first game coming in as a starter against Texas and they're taking it to you, all right.
No, I get it. Well, this kind of brings me to the next question I have for you anyway, is there's a number of these teams that they're kind of penciling in to the, as playoff contender. They're going to be, A&M being one of them. Texas, obviously, you've got some people saying that they could go 12-0 and beat Georgia, for God's sakes, which is insane. But Missouri played a really weak schedule, got some things that kind of went their way a little bit, lost a lot on the defensive side, lost their running back. I love Luther Burden. I'm a fan of Theo Weiss. He was at Oklahoma for a while. He looked really good over there. They have a workable schedule, but they'd still have to play Alabama. They had to play A&M. They've got games that they can definitely lose. And then Ole Miss, look, as much as I love Lane Kiffin for the needling that he does, the next time the guy wins a big game will be the first time he's won a big game in the SEC. I guess the LSU game last year was at home or whatever, them winning that game. But LSU's defense, this was awful. Yeah. And they still almost got beat. To me, how concerned or how high are you on any of these four teams? Or is there, where would you kind of rank them yourself?
I don't know where I'd rank them because I think they're all in the same exact spot. Like, I think Ole Miss has the potential to be one of the top teams in the SEC. They also have the potential to be a 10-2, 9-3 team. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see where they're at, right? Like, it's going to be interesting to see with everything they brought in on defense. Offensively, they're going to score. Saban's not there. They don't have – actually, Ole Miss doesn't have to play Alabama. So their schedule is somewhat favorable. Their two big games are against LSU on the road and at Georgia at home. Regardless, let's just say for a hypothetical sake that they lose those two games.
At home. Right.
But I think they can beat Oklahoma. I do think that, let's just say hypothetically, or let's say they beat Oklahoma or go 1-2 in those three big games. They're still going to be 10-2 and in the playoff hunt. So I do think that their schedule is very favorable for them. The question becomes, can they beat an LSU again on the road? Can they beat a Georgia? I think that they're looking at it differently than what people are maybe thinking that Ole Miss should be. Because, look, they didn't have the personnel defensively last year that they do this year, so how much better would they be? Missouri, the thing with Missouri is you're changing defensive coordinators. You're losing a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the football, but you bring back a lot of experience offensively. I do, and will continue to be at the current moment high on them offensively, but I don't know what I'm getting from them on the defensive side. I do think they can beat Bama because, look, we don't know. Look, Bama had a lot of people leave, right? And I think that Bama is extremely talented, right? Like, I think that Bama can beat anybody on their schedule. The problem, though, is when you have that big of a overhaul, not only on the coaching staff, but you have it with players, we don't know what we're going to get from Bama either. So I think that you have four teams in Missouri, Ole Miss, LSU, maybe Oklahoma that are vying for that same spot of like, hey, who are going to be the other two teams that get into the playoff? Maybe Alabama too. So which teams win that? Now, I will say Alabama does have a very tough schedule. I think that we're going to find out a lot about Kalen DeBoer, but I like Kalen DeBoer. I think DeBoer is a really good head coach. So
kind of gets me into what I was going to ask you next too. Go ahead.
No, well, I'm done.
No, I was look. That's the first thing. I mean, I'm now that you kind of brought Oklahoma, what you thought about that. I'm going to ask that in a minute too. But the next thing I would ask is, it seems like a lot of, and I don't want to say sleeping on them because I don't know that you should. I know that they lost a lot. They lost a lot of guys in the portal. They did. Now they brought in a guy that did more with less, but he did it in a lesser conference too. So let's not act like it's the same thing to do that at Washington as it is to do it at Bama.
Right. I mean, again,
do you feel like, I mean, some people might say you're sleeping on Bama a little bit. Do you feel like a lot of people are, and maybe that's
100%
to their detriment?
No, it's to their benefit that people are sleeping on them. In my opinion, because they're not the front page news headline. They can do what they need to do. And I think people look at
you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bama's benefit. I thought you were asking about Bama. I mean, to their benefit, yeah, I think it benefits them that nobody's talking about them. They don't really have the pressure. They can kind of come out of nowhere to some extent. Now, it is Bama, right? But I do think that they are going to be better in the run game. I do think Kalen DeBoer is not going to be as pass happy as he was, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be good offensively. I think their O-line is going to be really good.
Yeah,
right?
Most of it back.
Right. And so we'll see with Bama. I do think who was the other team that you had mentioned? I'm sorry.
Well, we were talking Ole Miss, Texas.
Oh, you brought up you'd said Oklahoma.
And Missouri. And then Oklahoma. But yeah, okay. So you said that you felt like that's a game. Now, look, I think it's a tough place to go win. And I think that, but again, here's what I think. The reason that I was going to ask you about Oklahoma is I'm struggling to understand why people believe that OU is not making strides and headed in the right direction with what they've done in recruiting and the jump that they made after Lincoln Riley turned it into a dumpster.
I don't think it has anything to do with Oklahoma as much as it has everything to do with their schedule. I mean, like, their schedule is brutal, very brutal. Like, could you imagine one of your last games going into?
Yeah, the LSU part of it. I think.
Well, not only that. I mean,
you start with Tennessee at home, but at least you get them at home,
right?
But and here's what my thought is that you've got more production coming back on that defense. They had lost a lot of it at the end of the year last year, which they started giving up a lot. But year 3 of Brent Venables in his tenure, everywhere he's been, they've been one of the top 10 defenses in the country in every way, and they're trending in that direction again. I get it. They have a new quarterback. He's a 5-star that can do. He can do a lot of things that Dylan Gabriel could not do.
Dylan Gabriel can do a lot of things that Jackson Arnold can do too.
That's not true.
That's 100%.
Nothing that he can do. There's nothing that Dylan 100% can do that Jackson's not able to do.
Experience does, Jason. Experience matters.
I know that experience matters.
In the bowl game, when it was third down,
that's all he has is experience on him.
Okay, but that matters. You're talking about next year.
I'm not saying that, but they also have weapons, a lot of weapons in place. And what I was going to get at, the point I was trying to make is I don't think that Jackson Arnold has to come in and win the Heisman for them to be able to play that, for them to be able to win.
Can't play like he did in the bowl game, or he's going to get benched.
Of course not. And I think I think that we've seen things throughout the spring. You know, for those that are covering this program, you're seeing things that maturity, and you would hope so. You know,
we're talking about the spring now.
Okay, but they going up against guys day in and day out that are unreal good, both in the secondary. The linebackers they're loaded on defense now. That's where I was saying is I don't think that they have to be a top 10, top 15 offense in order for them to win. What they have to do is have that defense playing in the top 10 and not letting some of these other offenses go explode on you.
So what's the question on Oklahoma? Like,
I want to know what it is that everybody thinks that they're not going to,
because they're replacing so much offensively. They had to go get 6 guys on the offensive line in the transfer portal. That's a massive issue. That's a massive.
A lot of that is depth pieces, but I'll give you that they're definitely going out there getting depth guys.
Are you Oklahoma fan?
On the line? They're new on the line. Yeah, but they're new on the line. But I cover them. So I've been around and watching.
But what is it? So the offensive linemen not get hurt. Why do you go and get those 6 pieces?
Yeah, I don't know that all of them are going to be starters at all.
Okay, so that means that you have depth. So if injury is an issue, then what? Which it is in this conference.
Of course it is.
Right? So if you're going to get that many pieces in the transfer portal at a position like offensive line, that's a massive issue. Jackson Arnold has not, in a real meaningful game, which no true quarterback who's getting his second start has really shown you anything. I mean, you're talking about next year and next year alone. We have no idea. Their schedule's brutal. They're having to replace a lot of their offensive line. Defense is great. Alabama showed you what a defense with an incompetent offense can do. But you got to be Bama last year, and I don't think that they can be.
Oh, I think they're going to be better offensively than that.
No, I'm talking defensively. If your offense is not going to move the football, then you're going to have to be able to be like they were defensively. Offensively, they were anemic, right? So what did they do to get to a playoff? They play really good defense. The problem is, are you 1,000% sure that they can, God forbid, that they can outscore Tennessee?
Yeah, I think that when you look at that receiver room, you look at that running back room, absolutely. I don't what's the difference at Nico Iamaleava and Jackson? They're both first-year starters.
Because every time Nico's come in, he hasn't looked like he had a deer in the headlights look.
There wasn't a deer in the headlines. Look, he made a couple of bad mistakes.
Did he not throw for under 60% completion percentage? Yes or no? Yes, he did.
I don't know if it was that.
He took more sacks than he needed to. Your interior of your offensive line is not 400
yards, bro. And they, for all those turnovers, they were winning until that last fumble that he had.
Okay. Again, he's a true he's a true dude.
The point is that all I'm saying is I don't think that, you know, first time up and getting ready for a bowl game, it is what it is. We're going to find out what he's about. I just don't think that they have to be top 15 in the country like that. I think
that's not what we're saying, though. They have. Are you going to sit here and say that they don't have?
He can't turn the football over. You're absolutely right. He can't turn the football over. No way.
Okay.
You can't allow it.
So
you can't have it.
You have Tennessee. You go to Auburn. Good luck with that. I know all people are going to. Oklahoma fans are going to snooze at that one. You have Texas. You have South Carolina. You go to Ole Miss. I don't think you can win that game. You go to Missouri. You got Alabama at LSU.
Which game do you not think they could win?
Oh, let me go back to it. I don't think that they can beat Ole Miss on the road.
Okay.
I think Ole Miss is better than them. So again, number one, what is your standard? Okay, your standard is to get to a playoff, is it not?
Sure.
There are probably 4 teams on your schedule right now that you're, from a personnel standpoint, you're not better than.
Which 4?
I don't think you're better than Ole Miss. I don't think you're better than Texas. From a personnel standpoint, I'm going to be honest, and you're going to say, well, he's an LSU guy. I don't think personnel-wise you're better than LSU. Okay, I don't think you're better personnel than Ole Miss. And if you want to take the LSU away, I'll give you the LSU away. What about Missouri?
But you got to play LSU in Baton Rouge also too. And look, I think that the losses. I think I've been saying 9-3, maybe 10-2 if they get hot.
I don't think, but that's the thing. You would still have to split Mizzou on the road, LSU on the road.
They're going to beat Mizzou, man. They're going to beat Mizzou.
Okay, but here's the thing that I do know about Mizzou. Okay, and this is what people have problems with when they come to the SEC or talk about the SEC. When you go on the road, good luck. You have less question marks about Missouri than you do about Oklahoma.
No, you don't. No, come on. Other than last year, look, last year he was going into that season, Blake, with a bunch of 5 and 6
he returned 10 of 11 starters offensively.
Okay, but what about on defense? They were carried by their defense and their running back.
They've returned 7 of 11 starters defensively. The 4 guys that they had that are leaving got drafted. So again, okay, so they have 17 of the 22 starters returning. Yes, I do have less question marks about them than Oklahoma. When you're having to go get 6 dudes out of the transfer portal of the offensive line, what are we discussing here? If you're going to tell me that 17 of 22 guys that are returning off an 11-2 roster, how am I not supposed to know that they don't have less question marks?
No, it's definitely it's a new offensive line, no doubt. But Bill Beatonbow has more guys in the NFL right now at tackle and guard and everywhere else. He's one of the best.
It doesn't matter about what's going on this year.
Coaches, period. And I'm not even saying that Oklahoma is targeting this year as they're going to go and win the national championship. I think that 25 is their year that they should really contend for everything. If I really do. I've been saying that because of the way that they're recruiting. They've been
before I go, because I got to go at 10, but this is the last thing I'd say to Oklahoma fans, okay? Bottom line is, I hear a lot from Oklahoma fans that they think that they can walk in here and just be the exact same that they were in the Big 12. Were you not 9-3 a year ago?
No, they were 10-3, but they won 10 games in the conference.
Did you win 9 games in the regular season? Yes or no?
No, 10 in the regular season. They lost the bowl game.
Okay. So you think that you're going to be better from last year to this year?
Yes, I do, because they've gotten better. They've gotten better everywhere.
I'm not even remotely close to being there, bud. I'm just not.
That's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, because who are the teams that you lost to?
You lost to Oklahoma State. You know why that happened. And then
the rivalry game that happens. I'll give you a watch on that.
And then Kansas. Yep. That was the first time we lost to Kansas in like 30 years. Okay.
You can't go into Como at night and do that.
Oh, God, Como.
You can't go at tonight in Oxford and do that.
I know that. I'm more concerned about Oxford than I am about
else you can't go at night and do that? You can't go into Death Valley at night and do that either. So number one, what is your standard? And number two, where are you trying to get at? There comes a point where is 8-4 realistic? Is 9-3 realistic? And do you want to be there?
No, there's never, ever, ever a time that anybody at the University of Oklahoma in anywhere that they're ever going to be okay with not competing for all of it. Period. Ever. They're not going to be okay with that. You have a standard, you live up to, they're a blue blood. Period. Oklahoma's a blue blood.
Here's a comment that I'll leave you with. Blue blood, being a blue blood means nothing when that ball gets kicked off.
It means something when the way you go about things and what you're doing from year to year to year, and they're doing everything the right way.
You're not a blue blood,
huh?
Then you're not. If it's year on year, what does the last 20 years look like?
The last 20 years,
yeah,
they've won a lot of games. They've won a lot of games. They've got one national championship. I get it.
Well, no, you won in 2000.
2000, right?
Right.
But they've been right there in the mix for a bunch of them, and you know that.
Yeah, but also
work out for you. Doesn't always work out.
You played in a weak conference, and then when you go to the playoffs, you got destroyed. The Big 12 was a bad conference, Jason.
Look, this is not Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma, man.
No, it's Brent Venables.
Which is better than Lincoln Riley.
Okay, well, he has more wins than Brent Venables in the last 3 years.
He had a Heisman Trophy quarterback and went 7-5.
And you know what? He recruited him to get there. And he also won 11 games the year before. You can shit on Lincoln Riley all you want to.
They played Washington or Oregon that year, and they lost twice to Utah, and then they got beat by Tulane.
You lost to Kansas.
Okay. He got beat by Tulane, and freaking
Tulane won 12 games, bro.
I'm telling you, Tulane. Right. Yeah, in the American, that's come on, you know that's not okay.
You lost to Boise State in a Fiesta Bowl. What are you talking about? The program literally lost to Boise State.
That was a freaking BCS game.
It was a New Year's Six Bowl. It's the same thing. They played didn't they not play in the Cotton Bowl?
It's not this. The Mountain West was better at that point than the American is now. Come on. Brother, I'm just telling you, man. All I'm saying is that I'm not going to sit here and argue about this all day, but we're going to tell everybody how to find you. The Oklahoma fans are a little pissy at you here, but that's okay. We'll have you back anytime, man. We're glad to have you.
If you don't have debate, then the debate drives
I love
up.
it. I have fun with it.
Live now, AYS Sports, Ruffino and Joe Show tomorrow. So we got a lot going on. T-ball's keeping me on my toes there, Jason. So I appreciate you having me, though, man. I really do. I think.
Are you killing it or what? Are you guys winning?
T-ball, you kind of, it just is what everybody. It's all the same score every time.
Have a lot of fun with that stuff, man.
Yeah.
This is the good.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on, then. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, brother.
All right, thanks.
Have a good one. Yep. Blake Ruffino from the Ruffino and Joe Show. I love this stuff. You guys getting all pissy in there. I love that part too. I didn't even get to look at all this, but I see it. Look, this guy, when it comes to Blake, this is his show. This is how they are. He wears old Joe out a lot of the time on that. I enjoy that kind of stuff. We can sit here and have this argument all day. The good news is that we're going to clip all this, and this is another piece of those receipts. Fact is, Oklahoma's got to step up and do some things that nobody expects them to do. This is a guy that's been covering the SEC. He's an LSU guy, and they just don't think much of OU. You can tell that he didn't think much of Texas either. They're thinking more of freaking Missouri than they think of Oklahoma and Texas. But it's not just Joe. It's not just Blake or any of them. It's not. It's all over the country, folks. All over the country. As a matter of fact, hold on real quick. Let me change this. Let me show you something real quick. Let's get into going back to kind of what I was saying about where we were at before. They are winning in the portal. They are winning in recruiting. They went 8-4-8. Right now, they're ranked number 3. They're doing everything they're supposed to do. They're winning guys in the portal that schools like LSU are not winning. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him about that, but I was going to bring that up too, is what I think is going on there with Brian Kelly and saying that kind of stuff. Is that what may have screwed up him getting that receiver? This guy was, for everybody, everything that everybody's saying about, I'm hearing a bunch of LSU fans are coping with the fact that they lost this kid in recruiting, plus Dominic Williams and Simeon Barrow and all that kind of stuff. I think that when you sit there and you proclaim that they don't buy players at LSU, I don't know that that's giving you the what it is that you want to be. That's not the message that you want to send if you're BK. Because first off, the players in your locker room know that's bullshit. We know it's bullshit. If the women's basketball team is making as much money as they are at LSU, are you going to tell me that the football team isn't? I mean, they just had the Heisman winner and 2 receivers, 3 guys that went in the first round. Don't tell me they're not paying people. And they just paid Bo Davis, made him the highest paid, made the dude the highest paid assistant coach in the country. That isn't a coordinator. Highest paid in the country. But they're not going to buy players. They owe BK, Blake just said it, $60 million. So if you're saying that, is that maybe why? Is that a possibility that that's why you had, DeCorian Moore decommit? Because I think so. I think somebody brought it up in the chat the other day, and I thought it was really a good call on his part. I just think that, you got to kind of look at it as this is either way you look at it, I don't think it was a great look. And look, LSU fans, they have the right to talk because they have won national championships and recently, and they've won 3 of them. Hell, they won one with Coach O and Les Miles. That's the kind of guys that they get down there. Now, I found it interesting that I don't know that I've been saying this a lot, that I think LSU is a lot better than a lot of people do, even without getting Dominic Williams or Simeon Barrow. I think they're struggling there. But I don't know that I believe as much as I did whenever Brian Kelly got there. I thought that was the best hire they could have made. And I think it was still the best hire they could have made at the time. But I don't know that I believe as much as I used to that they're going to win. And win a natty there with him. I think he's got the coaching acumen to do it. And I don't think that he has to be a great recruiter. Coach talks about him not being a great recruiter. We're seeing that. but it's wild. Hey, Mom, what's up? Thank you. Yeah, I got a little wild in here. 150 folks in here right now. I haven't looked at the screen and see how many likes we got, but I'm hoping we got a bunch. So make sure you guys jump in there, hit that like button if you haven't already done that. Very important for the channel, you know. Hit the like. Hell, if you hate it, hit the dislike. I'm good with that. You know, just either one. But we've got, so far, we've got, are you guys kidding me? 25 likes, and we've got 150 people in here watching this. Bro, come on. If you are over there in Twitter land watching this, please jump over to CFB-pod on YouTube and hit the like button, become a subscriber. We'd appreciate that. I know you guys watch YouTube channels. Please make sure you do that for us. We appreciate that, though. We're not monetized in any kind of way. I don't even know how to do it on Twitter. So help us out with that. It does help a lot to get us right there. Kelly with the right assistance and the ability to keep his in-state 4- and 5-star kids home, you think is a listen, I don't say that it's not, but what I would tell you is that I've also heard guys like Blake, like their guy down at the ESPN affiliate there in Baton Rouge, talking about the fact that they're leaving the state of Louisiana to recruit 3-star corners out of Nevada when you could throw a rock and hit 10 of them in the greater Baton Rouge area. That was on the Crane Show the other day. Your grandson just repeated some new words this morning? Oh, goody. Those are always fun. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Yes, Ramen Lemon, always exposed. I love your analogies there. Good stuff. 25, that's all. Look, it definitely took on a new meaning. And I think that, look, guys, here's the bottom line. I think that I was saying this the other last week, too, when we were talking about this. Kelly was pissed that they didn't get Dominic Williams. Guaranteed. Or Barrow. If they hadn't gotten Dominic and then they get Simeon, they would have made it into whatever they made it into, saying that they got the guy they wanted. But they didn't get either guy. The bottom line is that right now they're still exposed defensively because I think that they're better than they were. They've got a better coaching staff there. They've still got some guys they're going to be decent. But look, they're young in the secondary. You don't know what you have there yet. You don't. And up front, every creator over there that you watch on YouTube, and go watch them, it's a huge concern. A huge concern. It's the exact reason that Oklahoma is doing the best they can to load up as much depth as possible in the interior of the defensive line. It's the same reason I really don't think that Texas is going to be as good, because they're not great on the interior of the defensive line. They've got one guy, and then they brought in Lole. I don't know. To me, plus you lost Bo Davis. I think that there's a lot of things that have to happen right for Texas to do anything close to what they did last year. I don't see it. I know people want to tell me I'm crazy all the time. I don't care. I'm telling you, I don't see it. Missouri, fuck out of here with that shit. I don't want to hear it. Fuck out of here with that. It's freaking Mizzou. They freaking won 11 games because they caught people at the right time and they had a trash-ass schedule. And they got another one. Except that there's some of these teams that, look, where you've got questions. And I understand what he's talking about. You got questions. You got questions about Mike Elko. The thing is that Mike Elko isn't there trying to do things the same way as what Jimbo was doing, but he's still got a lot of that talent. Plus, he's brought in some other talent, too. I think Colin Klein might be a good fit for that because they're going to run the shit out of the ball, which is what you want to do. And I think Connor Wegman, if he can stay healthy, is better than Quinn. Let's say but who cares about that game? I don't even want, we can put that Texas game on the back, the Texas A&M game on the back burner. But Missouri, they've got to go to Kyle Field and win. We're going to find out a lot about the Aggies in week 1 because they play Notre Dame. We're going to find out a lot about it. They go on the road and play at the Swamp, I think week 4 or 5. We're going to find out a lot about them. They've got some games against some of these teams that, look, I think that A&M's got a favorable schedule. The bottom line is that Missouri, there's some landmines there for them. They're not beating Alabama, and they're not beating Oklahoma. We know that. I think they can lose to A&M easily. I wouldn't be that damn surprised if they lost at Arkansas at home because of Bobby Petrino and this new quarterback that nobody knows anything about. I don't think he's a great passer, but I don't think that, look, Bobby Petrino got Lamar Jackson to win the Heisman Trophy. And you don't just do it running the ball. And he did it at Louisville. This guy throws better than Lamar. He's not as fast as Lamar. But I'm telling you, he's going to get more out of this kid. And that's the kind of game that I think A&M could win. A&M could lose at Arkansas. I don't think they're playing Arkansas, but Texas could lose that game. I feel like Missouri could lose that game. They don't have to play Ole Miss, but I think there's a couple of teams that can reach up and bite their ass. They don't have to deal with Tennessee, which that sucks for Josh because after that shit they were talking after the game last year. You know, and he doesn't have to deal with them for 2 years. I think that Drink got, and somebody shined a lucky star on that sumbitch. That's all there is to it. But he, man, you know, born on third base and freaking get to home and you act like you hit a home run, and that's what they're doing. I would agree with this part. Hard for LSU to be worse defensively. No, I don't think they're going to be worse. And I'll tell you something. I think that, believe it or not, Prangley's show, and he wasn't on it, but they were talking at the time. They were talking about last night the similarities between SC and LSU, which I think LSU should win that game, but it's the first game of the year, and Florida State's gotten them 2 years in a row in this kind of a game. Would you really be that surprised if Lincoln dialed up something that could hurt them first off early in the year? I wouldn't. Particularly when they're still trying to get their feet under them on defense. You would think that they would be better on defense because they've got a better defensive staff. But again, the place that you can get hurt is up the middle. And they still haven't gotten anybody that I can tell there. I think that Dominic McKinley has an opportunity to be a good player in year one, but you have to rely on him doing that. I still think LSU, offensively, they're going to be stout. They've got one of the best offensive lines in the country. No two ways around it. They've got Caden Durham. They've got, I think, Garrett Nussmeier. He didn't talk about that, but there's a question about him and throwing a lot of picks too, because that's what he did, and that's why he lost his job to Jaden Daniels a couple years ago. It's why they brought in Daniels, because, they couldn't trust Nuss. Now, I think that he's a better player than he was then. I think that Jackson's a better player than he was in the damn bowl game. But, and look, guys, you guys can, bottom line is, I'm going to say this again. Be careful what you say about LSU because of the fact that, guys, they have won national championships. They've won 3 of them since Oklahoma won one. 3 inside of the last 15 years, 12 years even. It's a real program in this new conference that they're going into. Period. Plain and simple. I'm not counting on a win that last game of the year. Going into Baton Rouge the first time, I think they got an opportunity, and we're going to have to see how this thing all plays out. I'm telling you that I'm still where I believe that Oklahoma is defensively is going to be the difference maker. I think that it frees up. I think Jackson's a lot better than people are giving him credit for, and I know that the offensive line is going to be fine. I am not concerned about it. It's Bill Bedenbaugh. And they got a bunch of 300-pounders. You just don't know who they are yet. That's what we've been saying a bunch. And in that backfield, Taylor Tatum is I believe that he will make an impact immediately. I think that Gavin Sawchuk is going to make. Look, if Gavin and Javonte or anybody doesn't get off to a hot start, they may never get back in the game if Taylor gets in. I believe that. This is a big dude. Listen to what Josh McCuistion says about him all the time. It's the same shit I've been telling you guys every day. He's a big guy that freaking eats up little white lines like Pac-Man. Kills angles. He runs for power. He runs for speed. Stud. He's a different cat, man. He is a different cat. McCuistion was comparing him to Mixon the other day. How many guys came through here that were as talented as Joe Mixon and big like that, athletic? Not many. Not many. You can count them on one hand. That's the kind of guy that Taylor Tatum is. And you've got more guys like that coming in the next few years. I think that Hicks can be a big contributor. But I'm telling you that there's a lot of guys back there. They're going to work all that out. But that offensive line is going to be fine. And look, Jackson, shit, and you got that many guys to throw to. Why would you worry? I'm not that worried about what they do offensively because I know that this should be the defense that holds teams to under 20. Even with the schedule that they're going up against. I think Alabama will be better offensively than they were a year ago. Defensively, what are they going to do? Nobody plays defense in the Big 12. That's such an old statement, motivated, dedicated. That's such an outdated statement. Outdated. Oklahoma is improved on defense, period. They will. Look, year 3 of Brent Venables. I'm not gonna explain this to you SEC fans. I'm just not gonna do it. You'll see. You'll see. And I think it's a lot. I don't know that they take the step that everybody wants them to take this year. I think that all this hatred towards them is helpful, for sure. When you look at things like what we're talking about here, and like I said, I think they've done really well in the portal. Do they have to? They're probably going to have to continue to do pretty well for at least the next few years. Let's look at this. This right here. All right. Let me get rid of this banner for a second. Blow it up. Did you guys see that pretty good? Oof, a little too much, huh? All right, well, we can start here anyway. All right, so Brandon Marcello's top 30 coaches. Now, we're gonna see a couple of these, but once again, Venables gets left out of it. Been one of the best defensive minds in the country for the last 30 freaking years. He's turned a program that was basically set on fire on the way out into a team that can go compete. We know that. Nowhere in there. It's not just that he's not in there. It's who he's behind. Gundy. Right? Unbelievable. Mike Gundy. Dave freaking Clawson. This motherfucker. This one too. And especially this one. And this one. And this one. And when the hell does Lane have to actually do something before they give him all the damn love? Matt Rule, what is he really? Kirk Ferentz, are you shitting me? Stoops, are you shitting me? And again, he just said, what has Mike Elko done? No, and it's not just because BV isn't on it. You're right. You're right. The guys that are in front. Drink has won. He won 11 last year. Again, look, when you do it twice, I might give you more credit there. It's particularly the fact that you did it at Mizzou. But look, man, Blake just sat there and acted like it's such a hard place to go play at Columbia. They haven't done shit in 10 years up until last year. They've just fallen in love with its recency bias there. And they love hearing the shit that he talks. Look, I love Luther Burden. I think the dude's a beast. I'm a fan of Theo Weiss. I think Oklahoma beats him by freaking 3 touchdowns. I do. Jeff Brom, we've talked about this one before too. Are you freaking kidding me? Jeff Brom, he hasn't done shit. I actually like him as a coach. He hasn't done shit. Gus, what are you fucking kidding me? Dan Lanning, what the hell has he done to be the number 3 coach in the country? What has he done? We know what they were last year, motivated, dedicated. We know what they were last year, bro. We know. What did I just say? Year 3 in a Brent Venables defense is always, they've been in the top 10 3 different times. Well, this will be the 3rd different time. Year 3 at Clemson, they won the Natty because they were the best defense in the country. Ranked number 2 scoring defense, number 2 overall defense. Same thing. Year 2, when they won the Natty at Oklahoma, started off the year, the offense was kind of carrying the load. By the end of the year, they held freaking Florida State in the national championship game to a safety. Year 3, they were even better. Look at who they're recruiting. Don't just tell me you got to be better on defense. No shit. Missouri defense ranked 25th. Okay, yeah. Who the fuck did they play? Who did they play? And they gave up 50 to LSU. I mean, LSU's got a good offense, but they couldn't stop them. You go up against that LSU defense, the worst probably in program history, and you can't get a win at home with that shitty defense. Don't tell me how good LSU or how good Missouri is. They beat Vandy. They beat a bad Florida team, barely. They beat a bad freaking Kentucky team, barely. Fuck out of here with that stuff. No, nobody thinks that they're going to be better than that. What? Who are you talking about? Go look at who they played, motivated. They look, I'm not going to explain it to you. I just told you I'm not going to fucking explain this shit to you anymore. I'm not going to do it. Graham Coffee, same thing. He did the top 15. He's got freaking drink from Gundy. Dan Lanning, at least he's got him at 10, but that's still ridiculous. You know who he didn't have in here that surprises me? No Lincoln Riley. But he's got Sark at freaking number 2, and he's won 10 games one time in his 10-year coaching career. He coached at Washington, USC, and now Texas. It took him 10 years to get double-digit wins. 10 years. Unbelievable. The rest of this one I don't hate so much. I think that Dabo, look, I still think you have to look at him as one of the better coaches in the country. Gundy is not. Get the fuck out of here. Jeff Brom, not. Stoops, not. Drink, hell no. Ryan Day's not top 5. He's done good in his conference, but he's got a Michigan issue. Kirby, of course, you're going to put him there. I like Kleiman. I like Lance Leipold. I like Leipold better than I like Ryan Day. I love Kyle Whittingham. You guys know that. But this right here screws his whole list up. Don't give me that shit. He sucks. I wish I wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. Bishop Frank, welcome into the show, sir. Sark at 2 is crap. Yeah. Kyle Whittingham would chew him up and spit him out. Chew him up and spit him out. Just like he does Lincoln Riley. Lincoln over there making fucking excuses about that they were stealing their signs. What a fucking joke. Yeah, listen, man, when you lose 3 in a row to Michigan, I don't give a shit who you are. If you lose 3 in a row to Michigan, you're not good. You're not good to go. Oh, man. What a deal. What a deal. Yes, he does. He does. Mm-hmm. All right. I know you guys are talking about this with. So this is kind of the thing that where you've gone with it. So the questions I thought that, again, I want to give a shout out to the guys that Locked On Oklahoma, where they were, to me, they were on fire. They were asking, you know, they're a portal winner. They look good in the spring. They're killing it in recruiting, which is, guys, looking at these damn rankings. Something has to, I mean, recruiting matters, guys. Recruiting matters. It doesn't, you can sit here and talk about coaching all you want to. If you don't have the players, it doesn't fucking matter. They have better players now than they ever did with Lincoln. And they haven't lost a beat on offense as far as recruiting is concerned. In fact, they're beating Lincoln for players. Motivated, dedicated. You know what the answer is to that. Run along. Who are you, a Mizzou fan? Because if you're a Mizzou fan, they haven't won shit since, they've never won a natty. Never. Their last, they are putting freaking banners on their stadium for winning division titles. Period. You know when it was. You can look it up just as easy as anybody else. You know when it was. Come on. Come on. The bottom line is, these guys, look, I'm not telling you that I think it's great. And I'm at the point now that I do think it's good that they are disrespectful. But it is, make no mistake, it's disrespectful. It is disrespectful. But I love it now. At this point, I love it. Their corner unit. Kentucky in front of them, Iowa in front of them. Notre Dame's great. They probably should be top 2 or 3. Michigan, I mean, they lost a lot of guys. I trust and believe that, this is the kind of program at Michigan that they're going to do. They've definitely recruited the way that they like to recruit. A&M you know how many guys they replaced at A&M? I did that video talking about between them and Texas, what I liked about them. They replaced like 12, 13 guys in their secondary, and you believe that secondary's there? We don't know anything about their secondary. And they're a lot of them were at corner. A&M, Kentucky? Are you kidding? Georgia's all the way down at number 8. That's insanity. Insanity. Wow. Steve B, what's up, man? What's up? T-Boomer Zach. Let's see. What do you say? Mid-tier SEC teams barking the most because deep down they know what it's about. Yes, they do. They do. Talking season, everybody is damn sure expressing their thoughts. And hey, I'm so ready to. And this is what I was talking about. The whole thing, there's a lot of beefs going around, and the beefs just keep on getting cranked up. They do. Because you have a bunch of people that are absolutely just, I mean, like I said, there's just no two ways around it, guys. That OU's catching strays on a daily basis. They don't give Venables love. And it's so funny to me that why does he not get the benefit of the doubt? Just because, I mean, he's been with really good coaches that have won national championships. He's 3 national championship teams. He's played for what? He played for 3 more at Clemson. They played for what? 2 or 3 more while he was still at Oklahoma. They've been in the mix of this stuff a lot because of his defenses. A lot of it was because of his defenses. Yeah, they were really good on offense at Clemson. They had really good quarterbacks and receivers that were special. They shut that first national championship game. They held Alabama to like 16 points. I mean, yeah, there's a difference, Steve B. Yeah, there is a difference, Steve B. You're right. I was thinking about that just now. Welcome into the show, other Steve B. Yeah, there definitely are. So we've talked about that before too, Mars. You know what I mean? We've talked about that before. You know, the thing about the yeah. Don't bring that up, bro. I remember though. Damn you. Yeah. No, you're right. That's the other thing. Assistant coaches wanting to coach for him. Look, man, he's not losing guys. Look, think about this. That offensive staff stayed intact, completely intact. The only guys that left, was Lebby, and then Matt Wells went to go be OC at K-State, which great job by K-State. I think much better offensive coordinator than I think Colin Klein is. And I think Colin's okay. They have a real deal coaching staff. Real deal coaching staff. Yeah, you're talking about, so that was his last year at K-State? Yeah, I remember that. I remember that now. I was actually just about to get out of the military. I remember watching that though. Yep. Yeah, look, that's the thing is that, and look, here's the thing. As I said before, it's hard to sit here and like argue with them because the Big 12 hasn't been good. You can say whatever you want, but overall, the Big 12 is not close to what the SEC is. We know that. And I said this before, Lincoln winning those 5 was not beneficial. Those 5 conference championships and then going to 3 as a head coach, and then they went to that other one. That was not beneficial for Oklahoma getting better. It was never beneficial for OU getting better because they could keep slapping that freaking, wallpaper up and making it look like it was, a rock wall. And it wasn't. It was paper thin and flimsy as shit. But because they could go out there and outscore everybody, you might lose that game earlier in the year to K-State. You might lose, somewhere along the line, you were going to lose a game, but you were going to find a way because nobody was stopping, all that talk about like motivated, dedicated, talking about that nobody plays defense in the Big 12. That's not true anymore. That's why Lincoln got the hell out of there, because they brought in some coaches that do play defense. They did. It's not the same thing. And Dave Aranda had Lincoln's number. The last half of that, they won the first game against him when I think they won 2 games or 1 or 2 games that year, his first year. The first half, they did what they wanted. The second half looked just like the second year when they won the damn conference. They beat the shit out of Oklahoma then. He didn't know what he had his number. Yeah, we do. Yeah. He did indeed. He did indeed. Look, you weren't going to be able to sustain it. Sorry. Just kidding, man. I don't hate K-State. I get it. But even look, you even got K-State guys that are hating on freaking BV. We talked about this last week with Kurtz. Fucker. Talking on that shit. That's a K-State guy. And you're hating on him, saying that he's not a good coach. He's not going to be an elite coach. I mean, I just don't get it. This CBU, okay, but the cornerback unit, it's not even as bad as this one. Guys, how in the fuck? I was going to pull that up too. Let me do that real quick. Unbelievable, this one. Rhyming lemon. All right. They got Makuba from Clemson in the safety room. And then what the fuck do they got? Derek Williams, he had 22 tackles, 2 passes defended last year. And that's a top 10 safety unit in the country. It just doesn't even make sense. 22 tackles. Peyton Bowen didn't play most of a good part of the year. He had 5 pass breakups and 21. And they were trying to say that he's better. That guy on there saying that he's better than Billy Bowman because he had 22 missed tackles. Number one, PFF and their missed tackle stat. You could go in there, and I would like to every one of them because there's no context in that on the missed tackle. Was he coming out of position to have to make the tackle from doing his job because a linebacker that we can remain nameless didn't do his fucking job? And he didn't get there in time, and that's a missed tackle? Iowa State, what are you fucking kidding? Notre Dame, I agree with. I think they might even should be a little bit higher. Georgia, I absolutely agree with. They got Malachi. He's a stud. That they're recruiting what they need to recruit there. You know that they are. Ohio State, yep, they're good. And especially with they've got the other one. Yeah, look, Caleb Downs, stud. Iowa's number one over either two. That's bullshit. Iowa State, USC. Fucking kidding me, man. Let me look. Hold on. Oh. Let's see. What the fuck are they? Oh, they still got them in the damn Pac-12. Okay. Achille Arnold, coming from Oregon State. Kamari, who came over from UCLA. There ain't no way. And Billy Bowman. There ain't no way. Yeah, I know. You're right. Yeah, and Billy had 6 interceptions. He was number 1 in the country in interceptions. He had 3 pick sixes, 37 tackles, 5 pass breakups. And the only thing that the Texas fans that are on Twitter wanting to talk about all that, well, but he had 22 freaking missed tackles. Again, if the only thing that you have is what they say, if PFF really has that Derek Williams kid from Texas ranked, I don't think they have him completely ranked better. Maybe in a certain area they might. But you can cherry pick these little things that they do on PFF. They're looking at, and there's no context in it. Production matters. Production matters. Those, and again, those 22 missed tackles, I don't know what, I mean, I don't remember seeing, you know what, the one that I remember that he didn't miss, 4th down at the Cotton Bowl. He took Xavier Worthy's freaking head off. That one, he didn't miss that damn tackle. Texas fan. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, look, and in the end, like I said, I mean, obviously, but again, Texas, how the hell are they there? I mean, Makuba, I like Makuba. He's been really good. But what you've got a 5-star in Bowen that every time he was on the field, if he stays healthy, he's an All-American. If he stays healthy, he's an All-American. He blocked 2 punts last year. He's going to be a man in the freaking return game. Not that that matters on the defensive side, but every time he was in the game, he was one of the better guys on the field, period. And Billy's one of the better players on the field, period. He's got a nose for the football. They're a different football team. This is what the whole thing is that, look, the disrespect is there and it's real, and I love it. I really do at this point. I really do. Because you know that when it all comes down to it, this is what's gonna end up happening. Look, getting into the top 25s, I'm about to have I'm doing some working on some stuff like that. I wanted to kind of get into some of that, but look, this is Pakel had him a little lower than I expected him to. I've seen him as high as 13th in his top 25. I don't necessarily hate that because they're in the top 25. I don't think it matters. You got to get to number 12 or 11 really to make sure that you're in the playoff, right? I think you do your job. You know that works itself out. I don't really care about that. I think it's silly that Texas is at number 3. I think he was smart with Georgia. I don't really have a ton of issues with this one. Ole Miss, I don't really trust them, so we'll see. Utah, I don't get. I think if Cam is good, they could win the Big 12. I don't think it's just a guaranteed like a lot of people are acting like it is. I don't. Notre Dame's too low. They should be in the top 5 or 6 anyway. They're definitely better than Utah. Missouri ought to be down there about where Oklahoma is, and whatever. SC being 18th, and then again, I don't really get it. I don't think there's a way in hell that they're better than Kansas State. I don't think that Oklahoma State. Yeah, fuck them. Nebraska in the top 25. What are you kidding? But I don't hate it. I don't hate his list. Liberty in the top 30 of Brandon Marcello's. Is he not? Where's Notre Dame here? This is the guy that didn't have Notre Dame in the top 30, and he had Liberty in there. Oh, bro. Ohio State at number 1, Georgia 2, Oregon 3, Ole Miss 4, Texas 5. Wow. SC at number 8. Notre Dame beat the fucking shit out of them with a Heisman quarterback last year, and they're not in the top 30. NC State's at 22. Yeah, West Virginia at 26. Liberty in the top 30, but no Notre Dame. Yeah, Iowa does it with defense. I mean, but look, they've been doing that with smoke and mirrors too. They don't have to play the worst schedule in the world. They get to the championship game every year. That's going to end this year because there's no divisions in the Big Ten. Iowa's about to get a wake up call. There's reality's about to set in there. No Notre Dame. Wow, it's awesome. I remember Coach sent me that day. He was fucking mad. Total ass. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. SCB fighting for a bowl game. I think there's fighting. All right. Their schedule isn't as, I don't know, man. They have to go. I think it's late October, early November when they get to go to freaking Ann Arbor. I mean, they get Penn State at home. They don't have to deal with Ohio State. They don't have to play Oregon either. They don't have to play Oregon either. Yeah, total ass. I'm with you. Man, I'll tell you what, boys. Tell you what, something else, isn't it? Welcome back to this show, though. We've got 170 folks in here. Guys, taking a look at this. You've had, let me go back in here and look at this again. Now we have 170 folks in here. A lot of them, it looks like, are coming from Twitter. We've had about 300 viewers here. 39 likes total on this website, on this side. We are on the other page too. We'll see. I'll have to take a look at everything. But guys, if you're on Twitter or at Facebook watching us or whatever, please take a moment, jump over here to the YouTube channel and get us a like. It helps the algorithm so much. And, this is the only place that we were able to monetize. So that helps us a ton. If you guys could do that, we'd appreciate you. Welcome into the show wherever you're joining us from. We appreciate that a lot. Is there a way to know if we're broadcasting a show other than notifications on YouTube? No, well, I mean, that's the main way. Are you on Twitter or not? Are you on Twitter at all, Neil? I need lap dance money. You are on Twitter. Okay. Find me on Twitter, and I always announce it there. But what we're about to do, no, it's at JW_HOF on Twitter. You can find me there all the time. So look, what we're about to start doing, I'm going to start going right now, heading into this. What we're looking at, we get so many views here that we're wanting to start doing a lot of this stuff during the daytime. We're getting a lot of views. Looking at it overall, I mean, I should go on here and check and see what it looks like on Twitter. What do we got? Used to be any day but Friday. Okay. And we've only had 123 there. So no way we're getting them all on the Sooner Magic one. Maybe we are. But we'll take a look. Anyways, what we're trying to do is we're getting a lot of views though. So, and I appreciate that a lot, guys. That's a main thing. You know, if as long as you're watching and you're interactive with it, and I'm getting a lot of views, that's the way that you really are able to kind of make this worth your while to continue. I need to do more stuff, but leading into the season, got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm actually working on, I want to get together. These polls and shit like that irritate me, right? They irritate me because they're so bad. They just really are. Oh, really? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't even really, I keep thinking that I need to go over there and do that. Good call, Ryman Lemon. I'm going to do that. You like it when I do it during the day? Awesome. So definitely, I mean, I'm glad that everybody's liking it during the daytime. I'm actually don't mind it as well. I mean, I could get some stuff done and get prepped for it. A lot of I work at night late and stuff, so I just have a lot of time to kind of look at stuff and kind of decide on what I want to talk about. And you know me, I love live streams. I hate editing. We need to do better about kind of shortening up some of this stuff. We've been going for almost 2 hours at this point now. But yeah, so what we're looking to do is, what I want to do is put some of this stuff out on everywhere and once the season starts, we're going to be going 5 days a week in the morning time right here. Tuesdays, always, we're never going to stop doing that nighttime one on Tuesdays with me and Coach, but this is going to be another one in this way. I mean, the chances are there's going to be a lot of changes that you're seeing coming up. What I would like to also do is get some writing done. I think that would help me a lot. If I'm doing morning time stuff and I could be in here in the studio, I could get a lot more writing done. I need to do a lot more of that kind of stuff anyway, and build that kind of website presence up as well. That could be helpful. So we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow, man. And I think there's a lot of different ways to go about it. You know, being a journalist and then turning into an influencer is a different thing, man. It's a different thing. So it's something that I've worked at, but it's just been these last couple of years. I mean, we're coming up on 2 years since I started the channel. Again, we are at, I want to say 30. What is it? We've got 30. 3,334. I mean, it'd be great to get to 4,000 before the season starts. That's kind of the push that we're making. I'd like to get to 4,000 subs. That kind of helps as far as your cost per view, all kind of stuff like that. So, I mean, and that's not even doing any of that. But if you can help, if you guys want to help the program, make sure you're hitting that like button, sharing this with other people. That's a big thing. And we can do a lot more. Get in and get some of that show merch. If there's something you want to see let me know. I can get it. We can looking at doing some stuff with Amazon. I know everybody uses Amazon. You can use our link and it'll give us, even if you just use our link, you get better deals. Plus we get a little commission. That'd be cool. I was actually looking at that last night. If you guys don't like the MAELREG stuff so much, let me know something that you want. There's an opportunity as influencers. There's a lot of things that we can go get, right? As far as becoming a marketer for them on the shows and stuff like that. So we're looking for, we're looking for sponsorships and things like that. We're still working on getting into SEC Media Days. We'd love to sell that coverage to a sponsor there in Oklahoma. I think that's doable. And that's something that Jim Williams is helping us out with that. I think we're going to get there. So that'll be in Dallas in July. I'm looking forward to it, man. But yeah, look, enjoying all this stuff and Hall of Fame. If you wait a couple of hours, you can call it the Hall of Fame Nooner. See, always good stuff, bro. Always good stuff, you say. Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. That's awesome. Awesome. Man, that's awesome. Tell him does your brother watch? Tell him to cut on it. No, Neil, we love having you on, man. You're one of our guys, man, even though you're a K-State guy. But you got a lot of Sooners in your family, so you're at least half good. You got to do something about this wife in Mizzou, but no, I'm just kidding. Don't mess with the better half. I get it. You guys are all kind of pissy, huh? About it. Y'all were pissed off at Blake Ruffino, were you not? That's funny shit. It's hard getting the word in edgewise. He'll keep on going back, and that's what he does that to Joe all the time on there. I like the guy. I think he's funny. I knew that was coming. I knew all that shit was coming. He likes to be quiet though. Oh, okay, cool. So he just doesn't say, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Yeah, well, yeah, that old Mizzou chick. Yeah. Look, I understand that they're happy right now because there's so few times that they can feel good about their program, and it's not going to last much longer. We all know that. Shit, football. Oh yeah, bro. Dude, that's a great. All right, well, but OnlyFans girls, but then that means I got to go freaking messing around and trolling on OnlyFans. Dude, once you hit 40, that's a fucking weird thing to do, man. I can't do it. You guys will have to scout them out. Send them my way. We'll talk to them. You go scout them out, Ryman, and I will talk to them. That's what you guys want. I mean, we're going to be working on something, but look, I want to do the stuff and I think that we could do some things too with polls and stuff like this. Brandon Marcello, I mean, we could beat him to death over that. He's doing it on his own, and yeah, he probably just kind of brain farted on that one. I'm not having no Notre Dame in there anywhere. Some people got him in the top 5. He didn't even have him in the top 30. Wild shit. I think it's going to be a lot of fun with the SEC, but I want to get a bunch of guys together. I want to get at least 50 to 100 voters for a poll, for YouTube creator poll. That's happening. I've been working on that. We're going to get, and I don't care if I like them or don't like them. If you're a YouTube college football creator, that's one of the things I'm working on. We're going to get it on an app situation, or those guys, if they cover anything, if they do that, where you can go on the app and vote every week, and make it simple. But I think that could be huge because there's a lot of YouTube creators out there that know ball. There's some that don't know shit, but you got those guys in the freaking newspapers and everywhere else that vote too. You do. The Associated Press poll was trash. Because some of the places, some were better than others. But you had so many, I can remember going back saying, I don't want to hate on this guy, but there was a newspaper I was at that the guy covered. And he He covered one of the worst college football teams in the country. They'd never played any of the good college football teams in the country. He had a Heisman vote and an AP vote every week, and the dude didn't know shit about football, college football. And he was grandfathered into this damn job. Ugh, I used to have to edit his shit. I hated it. It's what got me out of the for a long time was that job. I won't even say where it's at. Anyway, getting chained to that desk and editing copy for that cat and a couple more was, oh, fuck that. I hated that job. But no. We're sooner booties or something like that. No, you're good. You guys could say stuff like that. I don't get offended by nothing. Yeah. It's gonna be cool, man. Yeah. Yes. Sure, you look good without clothes, but how do you rank the Sooner safety room? Yeah, that's going to be a whole new show, guys. That one will have to probably be on Patreon, I think. You know, you think so? Well, they weren't always right on it, but I think they were closer than what a lot of these look. When you start looking at, I think everybody's looking at recency bias of last year. I think it kind of worked itself out more times than it did in the first 12, right? It really did. They could have had situations like last year a bunch of times, but it was only last year where you had that many teams that were undefeated and you knew that they belonged. And Florida State is still arguable for me because of the fact that they were a quarterback, man. And I don't care what TJ says. I love TJ, but I don't buy it. They weren't gonna be that. But it did take the politics out of it. I agree with that part. But I would tell you that I don't think they had it wrong that often. Do you? I mean, the playoffs, if you go back and look at the playoff teams for the last 12 years, I don't even know that if they had it wrong last year, I think that Georgia should have been in. They love Texas for beating Alabama, even though I agree with what Ruffino said a minute ago. I don't think that was the best Alabama team. Yes, it's still Nick Saban, and I mean, they took Michigan down to the wire. He knows how to coach a game. He knows how to get you ready for that game. In the end, they still lost it. And Jalen Milroe, they found a way to kind of piece that thing together, but that Texas win, and that win was good for them, but they never looked like that all season. They never looked like that again. Except for against Okie Light's trash ass, which you know damn good and well, the second that they got into the Big 12 championship game, they were going to gag all over themselves. Like clockwork. You could set your fucking watch by it. So hilarious. Listen, I understand. Yeah. Look, I understand where you're coming from on it. I don't agree with you. I don't think that they were worthy. They went and got the shit kicked out of them by Georgia. And if they have such a great, you guys can get me in trouble with the FSU fans. If they have such a great culture, why did they lose all those guys to the portal again? And they had to be heavy in the portal again. And then none of them hung around for the fucking Orange Bowl. Bobby Bowden was rolling over that they treated a berth in the Orange Bowl like that. Not a good look, man. I understand what you guys are saying. They did them wrong to not. I mean, look, they did do their part. But to me, it played out the way that I think what they did by not getting those guys to go play in that Orange Bowl, finding a way, or giving a shit about it, was give everybody a reason to say, we don't want to hear it. You've got the back-to-back national champions in the Orange Bowl. Go prove it there, and you get beat by 60. I don't want to hear it now. Nobody wants to hear it. Again, I understand, and I mean, it's easy to take that side of it looking from this side, right? If it was Oklahoma, yes, I'd be really fucking mad. I get it. It wasn't just one or two. Well, what's the most important position in football? I'll wait. What's the most important position in football? Yeah. I agree. I don't think that, and ESPN looks bad. ESPN looks bad in a lot of this shit. That's the big thing. And I get where freaking Florida State's sick and tired of their shit. No, it is not. You know better than that. It's quarterback. Period. Assholes. Gonna sit here and clown with me? Okay. Well, they got jokes. They got jokes. Yeah. Look, in the end, long snapper. Yeah, Ricky, that a boy. Now, this one's not far, but it only matters if the quarterback's worth the shit. But the quarterback's not going to be that good without a good left tackle or right tackle if you're a lefty. This is a funny one. This is true. But you guys know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what the straw that stirs the drink is, boys. You do. Now we've just lost it. We've just gone on off the rails now. Just saying anything now. All right. So yeah, we're doing some stuff and be working on some of that moving forward. Looking to have Jake Crane on. He said he can't do it Friday, but we may have him Wednesday or Thursday, maybe. From Crane and Company. He's probably going to come on and trash Oklahoma a little bit as well. That's okay. Let him do it. I like Jake though. Jake's and if you guys don't watch Crane and Company, that's on it's on YouTube. But they're part of the Daily Wire team. And I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, but I subscribed to the Daily Wire just so I could watch Lady Ballers. Fucking hilarious, man. So we're gonna get him on the show. I've been on with him a couple of times on High Top. We're gonna get him on there for sure and have a good time. They always had one though. That's true. Plus the defense and all that, but it's easier when you got a QB, boys. I said position, and running backs aren't what they used to be. The game's different, boys. It's a throw it, air it out game nowadays. They did. All right. I'll tell you what. He is my least favorite Oklahoma starter over the last, aside from Spencer. Jalen was not my favorite. I think that was Lincoln's best job coaching, period, was when he had Jalen. Because he had to make up for so much. His play calling, his best play calling that he ever made was with Jalen. Because Jalen would put him in bad positions. I was in Waco that night that they came back from 28-7 down. I was getting ready to leave that cold son bitch too after half. If they didn't score right after the half, we were fucking gone. It was cold. Cold. And he was trash. But Lincoln, he smartened up. He did exactly what the Eagles did when they went to the Super Bowl. Was they've got those guys that they can run them deep, got really good receivers. He threw underneath passes to his running backs and short passes that they could get and get yards after the catch, and he threw bombs. because you don't have to be overly accurate. Lincoln did the same shit with him. Basically, the rest of that, he said either take off or it's a deep ball or something short. But he never did that last year with Caleb, which was weird because he was running for his life the way he was. He didn't get him those easy throws. It's either the deep ball early or short early, which was so weird. Yeah, you're probably. I think that's a good argument. I'll give you that. But I also think that. But then I think that Jalen's definitely a better athlete than Spencer. I think Spencer's going to be shitty in the NFL. I don't see him as that guy. I just don't. And he's not. His leadership lacks. I never felt like everything I heard after he got to South Carolina. I don't think that he grew up there. The concern is like what Kim was talking about on the other day on our Discord. Another way to help out, become a member, channel member. You Jaron, just hit that join button there right next to the like if you hadn't already hit it. As low as $2.99 a month. But yeah, Kim talking about that. The concern with Caleb Williams is he better grow up, and I'm not as worried about that. I think a lot of that's a little overblown. I think he's a little weird. I think Caleb's a little weird. But I think kids these days are a little weird. Right? There's just a little different about it. The problem, I think, is that they didn't teach him to read the defenses all the way. I think he's going to struggle doing that. I think there's enough veterans in that locker room, and with Keenan Allen and stuff on that team, I don't think I think it'll be fine there. My concern would be that Lincoln didn't teach him to be a quarterback. He can scheme very well. But the problem is it's always one or two reads. It's half the field at most. He never taught him how to read a defense, what you're seeing and what it's equating to. It was our guy against your guy. I can get my guy open. When you got CeeDee Lamb or D.D. Westbrook, or you have, Jeremiah Hall and freaking, Dimitri Flowers, guys like that, playing that H-back position. You've got running backs like they had. Yeah, you could do that kind of shit. But Zachariah Branch, you should be able to get his ass open. No, he's never had a high-pressure situation. He was a coddled little fucker. If you watch that dude on that Netflix show, man, I was mortified that he was coming to Oklahoma. Mortified. Key and Peele. Never really thought of that, but I like it. Mortified that he was coming, man. Scared me to death. And he didn't look, man. I understand that quarterbacks don't like losing their job and all that shit, but he did not handle getting pulled out of that game. And, he didn't celebrate with the team when they won it. Was missing after that. He didn't show up at practice on Monday. Lincoln let him get away with that shit. You knew it was coming. And, and everybody was pissed off about what Caleb Williams said on the Pivot podcast, saying that he was blaming Oklahoma for not being the starter. He was saying at Oklahoma he was pissed at Lincoln, for God's sakes. But yet nobody talks shit about Spencer the way that they do about Caleb Williams now. I don't understand that. I think that Casey is the, in case of emergency, break glass guy. That's what I think. I think if in-game injury to Jackson, Casey comes in probably during the game. If he's going to be hurt for even a week, I think they get Michael Hawkins ready. I think he's that good. And I think, Casey can spin it. But I think that Casey's there to be, in that emergency situation. And he's a competitor, you got to say that about him. As much as I made a big shit about that. I mean, that was stupid of me, kind of. He's a competitor. He can spin it. The dude can spin it. I'll give him that. He looked good in that Red River up until that point. So, Hank, as far as what, like being spoiled or what? Being an asshole? Because I met Rhett in Vegas, and yeah, he wasn't cool. He was with the Raiders at that point. Like freaking third string or whatever. I was selling timeshare. He sat down and I was like, "You're Rhett Bomar? Are you shitting?" He was an asshole. I got him out of there quick. That was right after I got out of stopped being a journalist for a while. Started my own business about a little while after that. Is that what you're talking about, though? Mentality and talent combination? Yeah, look, arm-wise, I mean, look, Rhett was a freaking stud. And I think that, well, but Spitter is like a statue, which you can be that in the NFL if you get the ball out in time, but he struggles with that. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. They love him in New Orleans. They think he's going to be their starter. You think he's better than freaking Derek Carr? I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Wow. It's amazing to me. All right, guys. I got to get some stuff done. Go take this dog out. Thanks a lot for joining me today. One of the things I want to do, though, I'm setting up today. I'm trying to get it to where I can set up my secondary line to actually where you could just call in. I want to start taking calls from everywhere around there. So you guys can't beat up on all the guys from around the SEC that are going to come in talking shit. I want them to call in, then you can beat them up. So we're going to do some of that. Do some good call stuff. Do some of that stuff. Yeah, he wasn't a good leader. That was good. I appreciate everybody coming in, man. Thank you, Neilio. Thank you all for coming in, man. I wouldn't do this without you guys. I've been enjoying doing these morning shows, man. I don't know what made me think about doing it that one morning, but I liked it. Definitely going to continue doing this. And like I said, by the time the season ramps up, I want to be doing this 5 days a week. I think we can get that cranked up and working well. So that may be a way to go about it. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for everybody coming in. It's good stuff. Make sure if you hadn't hit that like button, get on there and do that. Go check out Mint Mobile, guys. Everybody's got a cell phone. I know you do. You all have a smartphone. Most of you are watching it right there. You can get unlimited talk, text, and data to watch the show by using Mint Mobile. It's on the nation's largest 5G network. It's the T-Mobile network that they're on. You do not miss anything off of what you're getting. I promise you. And guess what? You can check it out and see first. Think $45 for 3 months. I'm telling you, saving $1,600 a year on phone, kind of a good thing. Kind of a good thing, especially if you're on kind of a fixed income. It's important. Go check it out. You can try them out at the same time. You don't have to leave your service right away. Try mintmobile.com/HOF. That's good for us, but it'll be good for you too. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get that one video shot for that shirt. Got to jump on there and get that. And let me know if you got any designs you think that we ought to be throwing on there, doing some stuff. Some of these fun things, it'll be fun. Some of the stuff that we say in here is good stuff. Thank you, Hankster. Appreciate it. Good to see everybody in here again, as usual. Like I said, the free way to help us, just make sure you hit that like button, man. We really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I think Rhett was going to be good before the scandal, too. But I think he was also... He abused it. He abused what they were allowing him to do and got caught. And that's what happened. That's what happens. You know, you do stupid shit, play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. That's why he ended up, and he blames it all on Oklahoma. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for coming in. Make sure, share this with your friends. We'll see you on the next one.